Good morning, sunshines. Welcome to BunniPhish Crafts. I'm your host, Heather, known as BunniPhish on Instagram, YouTube, Patreon, TikTok, every place, all the places. If there's a bunnyfish, it's probably me. Hi, how are you? Happy 2024. I am so excited. I have so many crafty plans, and I can't wait. I can't wait to get into it. If you're new here, I teach at a school, and I have today and tomorrow left of break, and then I have to go back to work. So I am planning on doing so much crafting today. If you haven't seen my crafty goals video, go that side. Go check it out to see what I have planned for 2024. I am going to go ahead and get started on those goals right now because I am using this beautiful little advent calendar countdown tree thing that I made, that I finished yesterday. I started it a decade ago. I finished it yesterday. And I put little nuggets of yarn in my countdown calendar because I didn't have one during December. And I was really I was thoughtful about what yarns I placed where based on what my energy level is going to be, because I know on Thursdays I don't have energy, so the nuggets on those days are tiny. And on weekends I have more time to work on things. So on weekends I put bigger nuggets. The notable exception are today and tomorrow because I don't work, even though they're weekdays. So yeah, I'm doing it. I'm doing the thing. Ba-da! So my first goal on my bingo card is to use 400 minis. These are going to count as one because they came off of the same yarn. I think I was using it in my green garter stitch blanket, and I was like, that's too pretty. I need to use this in other blankets. So I'm going to use up these, and they're going to count as one. I'm also today going to work on a blanket for middle school. It is a corner to corner. It's just it's two strands held together. I'm going to use a white strand and a pink or purple or red strand. That's my plan. In my goals video, I had not fully synthesized what two projects were going to be. So this one and the rug, which is going to be greens and blues and purples, mostly greens and blues, and black. So I'm also going to start that today. And I'm going to see over the next 2 days how many of these scrappy bits I can use up. Just, get my goals kick-started. See what I can do. Also, today, I am going to work in this mini to this sock and cut in a heel with this yarn, and then finish the foot with this. And if I finish this whole sock, could happen, I will pick up this sock. I started this yesterday. It's 2 strands of fingering weight held together. I did the heel, heel flap, heel turn, gusset is started, and yeah. Look how cute it is. Oh, I love it. So one of my other goals is 2 pairs of DK weight socks. This is maybe just a smidgen shorter than I would like it to be, but I tried it on, and for the other sock, so I cast on 40 stitches on this sock, and it fits great. on my ankle, but I have calves, so I need just a little more space. Maybe cast on 44 stitches and decrease around my ankle or something, because 40 seems like it's going to be a good fit for my foot minus my instep, because I have a really high instep. So, but that's what the gusset's for, right? So yeah, I think I'm going to, for my other pair of socks, maybe cast on 44 for the leg and then decrease it out. So yeah, that's future Heather's problem though, because right now we're just working on all these scrappy projects. I'm going to go edit some content for the vlog. I'm going to listen to an audiobook. Side note. I need to think about how I want to document books that I read on a Kindle, because I think that's going to happen this year. So far, my books for my reading log blanket are Solid for hard copy books and then Granny Square for audiobooks. I need to figure out what to do for books read on Kindle. Because I think I might read the Court of Thorns and Roses books this year via Kindle, because my roommate has those books on Kindle. And that would be convenient, because then I will always have them, because it'll be on my phone. So how should I make those squares? I have time. I have like 57 other squares to make before I even have to think about it, assuming that that's the book that I finish first this year. So what do you think? What kind of square should I use? Like, I want it to be easy, so I don't want to do something super fancy. I don't know. This is a conundrum. Hey, sunshines. So I've been working away on things. The rug is started. I am only using 4 strands together instead of 6 on the one that I made for myself. So it's a lot more floppy, but it's also nicer on my hands. So, and I'm using a smaller hook for that. I don't remember what hook I used. This is a Q. So I have one slightly larger hook, and that's what I was using for my rug, but this will work for now. I'm doing pretty good on that. Hey, this little nugget has been cuddling me all day, in my lap all day. Let's see. I was down here this morning on this blanket, so that's what that looks like. I've made some granny squares. I have worked a little bit on the sock. So, can't decide what scrappy project to work on, obviously. So I'm working on all of them. It's a very nice scrappy day. But I'm checking in because I just finished listening to Wheel of Time, Book 14, A Memory of Light. So that is my first finished book of 2024. It's my first one. So at some point, the cat is currently on my foot. Like, my foot is here. This is my toe. Here's my heel right down there. So the cat is on my foot. So I clearly can't move. That's the rule, right? But sometime today, I'm going to grab out my reading journal and journal that. And I will grab out my reading blanket and make 2 squares, right? Because that's the deal I'm making with myself, because I want to be current, so I can't be falling behind. So 2 squares, either tonight or tomorrow. It doesn't have to be today, but we'll see what 2 books need to go next. I am going to dinner at my sister's in a little bit, so I'm going to start wrapping up what I'm working on right now so I can put things away. Oh, just a very sweet kitten. I'm going to finish the heel on this sock today, and then I'm going to save this yarn because I was just going to make this, I was going to make these into shorties, and then I was like, ooh, I need to put this into other blankets, this yarn right here, because it's so pretty. So now I'm not going to have enough yarn because I'm working it into blankets to make a second sock. And I don't know if I have another yarn in my stash that matches this one pretty well. I might, but I might not. In my scrap stash. Did I say stash or scrap stash? I meant scraps. So I'm going to reserve the rest of this to make the second sock with. Should I choose, or should I not find something else that works better? So I'm going to finish the heel on this one. And then I'm going to pick a different scrap to attach to the foot. And then I'm going to put it in a project bag and put it in my purse and promptly forget about it. And this is just going to be school knitting or purse knitting, one of those 2 things, because it's just stockinette. And I think that is what I'm going to have as purse knitting this year, is just scrappy socks for my oldest kiddo, for a while anyway. Maybe. Or I could totally be making that up and be a liar. But I imagine that some sort of sock will be in that. You're very sweet. Oh, I love you, kitten. What? Hello, sunshines. It is Tuesday morning, afternoon, I don't know, early-ish in the day. If you've been here a long time, you may know that sometime pandemic-y, I started these squares with grays and blues with intent to make chair covers for my car, and they never got further than this. So I am going to rip them out and use them in the rug for my roommate, rather than just have them be sitting, not worked on, not used on. I don't want to work on them now. It's not a project that I'm concerned with at all. So yeah, I think this is a much better use of that yarn. And I've used up a bunch of my small scraps of yarn in here. So I think this is a good way to do it. I guess I'll consider each of these like a scrap. So when each one is used up, I'll count that as a scrap toward my scrap total. I know they're made up of a bunch of scraps, but I don't know. For some reason, counting them each as one makes sense in my head. It's Tuesday night. I went to the movies with my sister. We saw Wish, which I still don't think is very good, but she wanted to see it, so I went. And I took the rag rug, and I would have gotten farther, but I have this like wrap thing, a sweater. I don't know what it is. It's like one rectangle in the back and 2 rectangles on the front, but they're sewn up on the sides for like sleeve sort of things. Anyway, it's got some fringe. So as I was pulling this out, some of the fringe got tangled and I couldn't undo it in the movie theater, so I couldn't work on the rug more. But I had a backup project, obviously. So I worked on this sock a little bit. Basically all of this new color was done at the theater. So yay me having a backup project. But tomorrow it's back to teacher life, school life, so back to way less
production on projects. It's okay. It was fun while it lasted. Also, reading The Priory of the Orange Tree today, really, really liking it. I'm like 50 pages in, which is exciting. And I figured out if I read a chapter a day, I'll finish it in about 2 months. So that's going to be my goal. A chapter a day, more if I feel like it, but at least a chapter a day. Wish me luck. Reading is really, really hard during the school week. I also started listening to New Spring. Is that what it is? It's by Robert Jordan. It's the prequel to the Wheel of Time series. Very cool. It's following 2 of my favorite characters from the Wheel of Time, so pretty excited about it. Just a little bird in a grocery store. Hey friends, it's the 8th of January. Just checking in really quick. I put this scrap in this blanket like several days ago, and every time I pick up this blanket, I hate that scrap in it. It's a beautiful yarn. I loved it as, let's see, I made it into a flower and into a mitered square, and I put it in my linen stitch blanket, and I love it in all of those places, and I do not like it in this blanket. So I'm going to rip this section out and just put it in the corner to corner blanket. And I just wanted to show you because, you know, sometimes like even scrappy projects deserve to be what you want them to be. And you're not beholden to anything to keep a scrap in a blanket if you don't like it. So I'm going to take it out. And in that exact spot, I'm actually going to put today's little mini in. Just a little nugget. Hey friends, it's now Monday the 8th after school. I am getting ready to cast on a new project. My work mom asked if I could make one of those like hood things that has a cowl inside but also goes down over the shoulders a little bit. And I said, of course I can. Excuse you, please don't eat my stitch marker. This menace right here, trying to eat this stitch marker right here. And stop! These things are not for you to eat. Oh my gosh, it's my favorite. Look at all that wintry snow, and it's still falling. Oh, I love it. Hello, sunshines. So today is Tuesday the 16th of January, and I am just checking in really quick to show you some things that I finished in the last 2 days. I will be back at the end of the month to show you other things that I finished because I am super dangerously close to finishing 3 projects, 2 of which are big projects. Like, they're not in project bags, they're in laundry baskets, so I'm excited for that. But I have 3 things that I want to give to the recipients, so I'm going to show you. My work mom asked me if I could make one of those cowl hood things that also like goes under your coat, like if that was something that I could make, and I was like, sure. And then I gave her, she asked me that like, I don't know, on a Friday, and I already had her winter gift ready, and I gave that to her on Monday, and then we didn't discuss the cowl thing anymore, and that was back in December. And so last week, Monday or Tuesday, I was like, so how tall do you want the cowl part of your cowl thing? And she was like, oh, you don't have to make that for me, you made me this beautiful cowl. And I was like, okay, but I'm gonna make it for you, then you can have 2 cold weather things. So I made it for her, and it turned out like this. So hopefully she loves it. I think that it's a good, like, she has pets and grandkids and stuff that she can take outside, and I think that it's like a good
keep the cold off for days like today where it's like 10 degrees out. Did I say that we're off of school today because of inclement weather? I can't remember because I recorded a clip and then I deleted it. So I may have already said that. If I did, sorry. But anyway, so it turned out. I think it'll be good. I totally made a mistake. This is supposed to be the side, and I forgot. But I don't think she's gonna know the difference. I'm gonna know the difference, but I think it'll be fine. I think it'll be fine. So hopefully that keeps her cozy and she likes it and she can stay hidden in the cowl. I'm gonna throw this through the wash before I give it to her because my kitten is like, oh, what is that? That's very cozy. As kittens do. He's like a teenager now. Very teenagery kitten. I also finished this sock that I made for my oldest kiddo. Like I made a Patton's Croix one and I made this one, and my kid does not wear the socks matching. Now that all the ends are woven in and it's finished, my kiddo's laundry basket is right there. Boom. So that sock is finished, which is cool. I think I'll probably continue to make my kiddo just some random socks like that, maybe throughout the year, maybe next year, I don't know. But we'll see. We'll see, because it's just 2x2 ribbing and then a heel and a foot. So it's really good, like work knitting, carry around knitting. Although I am going to make my roommate a couple pairs of socks this year, and I already was like, these are going to be plain vanilla socks, and my roommate was like, I don't care, that's cool. And then the last thing that I finished is, it could be a cat, could be an owl, depends on like what this up here is doing. I literally just made this so I would have somewhere to put my yarn ends in, so I probably started it in November and it's filled up. I mean, there's some polyfill in here, there's some I had some hexapuffs that got kitten attacked, that got holes ripped into them, that I then sent through the wash, but then they got put in here. I didn't bother trying to rip them out. My kitten is getting really much better though about not playing with my yarn. Like, he wants to touch it if I'm actually actively using it, but not otherwise, so there's that. So that's pretty good. But anyway, this is finished and I'm gonna put it in my backpack right here. Can you see my backpack on my bed? I'm going to put it in my backpack to take to school tomorrow, and I am going to put it in my prize bin for kiddos because they get a kick out of my handmade things. I did not realize, like, I know, but I really didn't realize. I have a prize bin, and mostly third grade goes in the prize bin. It's like the other grades don't need that incentive. Like, they have other incentives. Like, the lower grades are happy with stickers and the upper grades get other incentives, but third grade, they like my prize bin. And like 2 weeks ago, I had some, like a headband and a hat. Do you remember I made those the gray hat and the gray headband? I made those things. I don't remember when I made them. Was it in January? Was it in December? I don't remember. But I made them, and then third grade went through my prize bin and they were so excited. They were like, oh, did you make this? Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's so cool. And even though it wasn't really cold in the classroom, they wore them the rest of technology class. And like, their teacher came in and I was like, I told them that if you said they had to put their prizes away, that they have to put their prizes away. But they earned those, like, for doing a really great job out of my prize bin. So it's up to you. It's your call if you want them to put them away, if it bothers you, that sort of thing. But should the principal come in and be like, why are they wearing those? You can send the principal to me and I will explain. Like, not Like, if it's a problem, have them put it away. If it's not a problem, I'll explain why they got it, sort of thing. Does that make sense? So yeah, I'm gonna put that in there. And I have this used. I used Bernat blanket yarn, and I used 1 and a little of the skeins because those skeins are huge. So I think I'm gonna make, in the coming weeks, by the end of January, I'm hoping to make a couple hats out of that. I don't know how many hats it'll make. Probably more than a couple. Let's be serious. This is a lot of fabric. So, excuse me. The last thing I want to show you is my sister found this at a thrift store. This is so cool. This is so cool. So here's the box. And it was a steal. It was marked as $8 and then it was half off. So look at this. Look at this cute little tea set. And it's the cups that are double walled. You see that? They're double walled so your tea doesn't go cold right away. And the teapot has a loose leaf strainer in it. Y'all, I'm so excited. She, like, what is that, video called me via Facebook. I'm not a FaceTime person. It's not a thing that I do. But she video called me and I was like, is this a pocket dial? And she was like, hey, I'm really sorry to video call you, but would you use this? And I'm like, yes, I will use that. So that's really exciting. And she was like, and you can show that on your podcast. So I showed it on my podcast. All right. For you, it'll be a couple seconds. For me, it'll probably be a couple weeks, but I'll see you soonish.
Hey, Sunshines. Happy Saturday, the 20th of January. Just want to do a quick check-in. I started another toy that I'm going to put in my prize box at school, mostly just to use up this yarn, which is a Noro that's been in my stash for probably a decade at this point. It's been there for a long time. And I don't have a use for it. So I was like, well, I guess toys are fine. So I am making Ruby the lovable, huggable monster by, what is it, Jenna Krupar, I think. But I'm doing it a little different. The body of the monster is cast on just and left open and then whip stitch closed at the end. I did Judy's Magic Cast On, and then you sew in the legs when you whip stitch it closed. So I just left some waste yarn so I can Kitchener those legs in. These are the arms. I am working them as I'm working the body so that once I get up to where I want to put them for the body, based on the picture, I can just knit them into the body and not have to sew them on later. And then this is just a little fidget that I'm going to put a marble in. I'm almost done with it. I have 2 rounds left before I put a marble in and sew it closed. So I'm working them 4 at a time, magic loop, because there's enough space on the needle for all 4. Once I finish this, I'll probably leave it just the arms and the body, because the arms do get bigger for the hands. So yeah, isn't it beauteous? I don't usually hand wind yarn like this, like even stripes. I kind of just go for it, but I just couldn't not because this yarn is so pretty. It's from Penguin Soup, who, as far as I know, hasn't started dyeing again, hasn't been dyeing for a long time. This is one of my precious skeins, but my roommate wanted it for socks. And the nice thing about hand winding the yarn is that I know that there are 15 stripe repeats. So depending on how much I use to make her socks will determine what I do with the leftovers for me. Hey friends, it's Sunday morning, the 21st of January. Just a real quick, something that you'll probably be seeing a fair bit of is if you're new here, you don't know that I had a really big breakup almost 2 years ago, like a year and a half ago. And I had made that ex of mine, he lived with us for a while. I'd made him lots of pairs of socks, or lots of single socks too. And my oldest kiddo has since inherited them because my ex didn't take most of them. But my kid's foot is ginormicon. So, over the year, no sense of real urgency or rush, but over the year, I'm going to be pulling out the toes or cutting off the toes, depending on how they were knit, and then knitting like another inch on the sock and then putting a toe back on. And I already picked, I'm not trying to match yarns with anything. I'm just going to use up this skein of yarn because I know it has nylon in it. My kid's not going to care. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to use up the skein of yarn to make toes on socks. And as I finish the toes, I'll take a picture, probably. And I might talk about it on the podcast, but maybe not. But this is what I'm doing with part of my crafting time this year.
Hey, sunshines. I'm back. It's a little later in the day, and I have finished a big project. This is a blanket. It's about throw sized, and I am going to be giving it to the school for auction for middle school. As you can see, there were a bunch of scraps used in this blanket. I am not sure how many particular to this blanket, but between this, my scrappy blankets, which I've been using at least one mini a day in since January 1st, and another project which I might finish today, I've used over 100 scraps since January 1st. So it's a lot. And yeah, I'm pretty proud of this blanket. I have a couple other things to show you too, though.
I finished the little fidget thing. There's a marble in there. The kids really, really love these things at school. So I wish they were more interesting to make, so I would make them more often, but it's fine. I'll just continue to make them out of scraps of yarn here and there. I also finished this pair of socks. And, they don't match perfectly, but they match pretty well. So these are my first pair of DK weight socks that I'm making for myself this year. One of two kind of full-length socks that I'm planning to make, and I'm also planning to make 3 shorty pairs. So this is the first. I used one 716 knit self-striping yarn and a Malabrigo yarn for this sock, and then I used that same Malabrigo, which is the speckly in here, with the one scrap of 716 self-striping. And then, this is also 716 knit. And then this down here was something else. But I think they're cute, and I don't mind that the colors don't quite match up. I think that they look like a pair. I did cables on opposite sides, so they'll be on the outside of the leg. I have to weave in this end yet, but almost there. So yay! Look at that. I feel like I'm kicking butt on my goals for the year. I have one done and another one half done, and with the minis that I've used, I'm already like a quarter of the way there, and I might finish another square today. We'll see if I check back in with you today or if it's going to be later this week, because it's going to be before the end of the month, but it could be today. Nope, not here with finished object yet. I'm thinking for my next DK weight socks, this isn't DK, this is worsted, but whatever. It's in the same vein. I'm going to count it. I want to use this, but it's 100% superwash merino. However, I do have this. I ordered 2 sets of this, but on different bases. This is the, what is this colorway called? You don't remember? It's the 11th anniversary color, Follow Your Path. And I made 2 pairs of socks and this hat using the sport weight version. So now I want to make socks out of it because neither of the pairs of socks were for me. They were for my littlest and my niece. So I'm thinking I'm going to use this, but I'm going to do this held double for the heels because this doesn't have any nylon, and this is the Traveler base. It's 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon. I think that's what I'm going to do. I don't know if I'm going to use these minis or not. I don't know. I don't think I'll need them. It's how many yards? 220 yards. That should be enough to make socks without needing the minis, but I don't know. So we'll see where these minis end up. Could be anywhere. Probably a hat. Let's be serious. But while I'm using up all of my minis, I still want to be like cognizant of using up my stash because I do have quite a big stash. It's still 80 something skeins, right? So I think this will be good. I didn't use this because I ordered this for Patrick because he liked the colorway too, and I was going to make him a hat or something out of it. I don't remember. But I should be using my yarn. Just because people decide they don't want to be a part of my life anymore doesn't mean that the yarn isn't good, right? Right. So now it's for my feet. All right, so I just wound this, and there are 5 repeats and the start of another. So my thought is for the socks, I am going to knit 1 repeat for the leg, see how I feel about it, because I'm thinking 1 repeat for the leg, 1 repeat for the foot. This mini skein with the nylon for the heel, and supplement with these as needed. I don't know. I'm not making too many plans until I get this started and see what 1 repeat looks like. Hello, sunshines. It is Tuesday, the 23rd of January. It's another snow day. So I finished this rug that I'm making for my roommate. It's pretty big. I think it's like 4 foot by 6 foot about. It was 4 strands of worsted weight held together. Let's see. There was a strand of black, a strand of blue, a strand of green, and then a strand of neutral throughout. So I used up so many scraps in here. I don't know if you can see all of the ends. I magic knotted them, but I intentionally did not clip them because I just thought that was fun. So yeah, this is the rug that I made for my roommate. I think it turned out really, really cool. I hope she likes it. And that's another bingo card item thing. So that's cool. And now that I've finished the 2 big, blankety type projects that I wanted to finish, and I finished them in less than a month, I kind of want to keep going on that vein. So for the last middle school auction, I had 2 blankets. I made one, and I just had one that had been sitting in my closet forever. So I think I'm going to try to make another one by the end of February. It's going to be the same thing as the one I just made for middle school auction. Not a rug, but a corner to corner, 2 strands of worsted weight held together, size K hook. And my plan is going to be 1 strand of neutral, so black, gray, white, cream, and then 1 strand of blue, green, or purple. So I went through my acrylic hiding places and I pulled out all of my little balls of yarn. I have a hat that may or may not have been finished at some point. I don't know, but I'm going to rip it out now. I have this square that I was making for something specific, and then I didn't do it, so I'm going to rip this out and put that into the blanket, put the yarn into the blanket. I'll set the orange and yellow aside. And I had this project that I made for a class sample when I was teaching at Joanne. I don't need this, so I'm gonna rip this out and use these yarns. I have a swatch. Don't know what this yarn is, so I'm just gonna use that. And then yeah, these like leftover bits of yarn. I'm gonna start with that and see if I can finish it by the end of February. I'm not going to rush to try to finish it. If I finish it, awesome. If I don't finish it, also fine. But the first blanket took me less than 3 weeks. So I think in 5 weeks, I'll probably be able to make another one, especially because I'm not going to be making the rug, like a rug also. I'm just going to have one. So yeah. This is my plan. It's a little silly. But after this, no more blankets for middle school until the fall. Because they are going to have one more auction, but it's in June, and I'm not going to make a blanket in June. So that's what I have. And I have some other things to show you actually. So let's look. A couple minutes ago for you, but a few days ago for me, I mentioned that my kiddo now has my ex's socks that he didn't take with him and that they were too short. So I ripped out the toe on this sock and then knit the toe yarn into about 10 rounds. I think it got me all the way through the 10 rounds, maybe 9.5. And then I used this other green yarn that I'm going to use to extend all of the socks. I had 3 to show you. I have 1 sock redone. I'm almost to the toe on the other. I have 2 rounds until I get to the toe. So I am doing that. So that's good because I want my kiddo to be able to use these. So, I mean, my kid will wear them even if they're too short. My kid was wearing them too short, but they will last longer for my kiddo if they're the actual correct length. So it's worth my time to pull out the toes. And reknitting, an inch of toe and a toe is way less effort than reknitting a new pair of socks. Because I know I could just knit my kiddo new socks, but these socks are in really pretty good condition. I mean, obviously a little tiny bit of pilling from wear, but these are good socks. And my other option is to rip out the toes and pull them back and wear them myself. And I don't want to do that because I made them for him and I can't wear these socks. So my kiddo can, though. My kiddo doesn't feel that way. My kiddo doesn't have the weird trauma feelings that I have. So it feels nice that these are going to fit my kiddo. Hey, sunshines, look what happened. My kiddo, it's Thursday, the 25th of January. My kiddo just went and grabbed the mail and handed me a package, and I know the shipping return. And I was like, I didn't order yarn. I was looking at yarn because last weekend was the Buffy sale. So I was looking at yarn, but I was like, no. But another friend, the dyer is a friend. The dyer of 716 Knit is one of my friends. Like, in real life, have seen her in person. We send each other, we're part of a group chat, like we talk. So she's actually a friend. But anyway, a different friend bought me a couple skeins for Christmas, and look at these. I actually looked at these in the shop last week and I was like, oh, those are so cute. They're needle stoppers for the ends of needles, which is so great because I have a couple of projects where I'm like, they need stoppers. And sticker and sticker. You are enough. How cute is that? And then I'm going to show you this one, but I'm not going to say it because it's got a swear word on it. So if you have like sensitive viewers, maybe have them look away for a second, but it's really cute too. So I'm going to show it. So how exciting is that? Oh, I love these colors too. They're so cute. I have the best friends. This one is people who don't play Pogs all day and wonder who shot Mr. Burns. And this one is No More Butt Monkey. They're so cute. I have the best friends.
Hello, sunshines. It's the 28th of January. So I'm gonna wrap up the vlog. Show you what I've been working on that I didn't finish. First, notably, I started a new blanket because I made the one, but now I kind of want to have two. Hopefully I don't run out of steam on making corner to corner blankets because this does have to be done by the end of February. But I've already, in the past several days, made this much progress, so it'll probably be fine. I think I'm a little over halfway through. No, maybe 3/4 through the increases. It's 46 squares across, or yeah, wide, and then 64 squares long. That's what I figured out the first one was, so I'm going to do the same dimensions for the second one. And it's it has one strand of white, gray, or black yarn, and then one strand of blue, purple, or green yarn. So I don't know, it's kind of scrappy. This corner is going to be scrappy, but I don't really have that many more small scraps of yarn because I used them up in the rug or in the other blanket. So I'm caught, but it's going good. And it lives in a laundry basket because it's too big for, well, it will be too big very rapidly for a project bag. Other things that I have been working on, my sister and I are going to make a blanket for our aunt for the winter holidays. I'm going to put it together. We're both going to make, it was my idea. So the plan is, which is why I'm putting it together. The plan is to make 12-inch squares, and we're going to make 20 of them. So it'll be like 4 foot by 5 foot. She's going to make 10. I'm going to make 10. So this is going to be my first one. I am kind of using a pattern called forest chains. However, I'm modifying it because in forest chains, it alternates rows of color, but instead of doing that, I'm kind of doing mosaic crochet. So this is the back, and I'm just slip stitching into the back stitch for the black and working the regular stitches into the, you can't really see, it's too dark back there, and kind of, yeah, I'm working into the front of the stitches. It's modified that, but I think it'll be really cool. I'm using a Karen cake for the main color, so, or the contrast, I guess it's the contrast color. The main color would be the motif, right? So I'm using black, just a black scrap. And I pulled out this Karen cake because whatever doesn't get worked into this square, which I know it's only a 12-inch square, it's not going to use a lot of this Karen cake, but whatever doesn't work into the square can immediately be worked into the blanket, so I don't have a scrap going around or sitting around, because it's all the right colors. It can be used for either the neutral or the colorful. strand of yarn. I also have that sock that I am making out of the Hippie Penguin tuxedo base in the pumpkin colorway. And I used a contrast yarn for the heel because, so I have 2 stripe repeats on the sock on the leg, which means I'm probably going to have 2 stripe repeats on the foot. And I'm going to do I think I'm going to do a contrast toe, because that means that there's 8 repeats total between the 2 socks. And I want to make myself a pair of shorties, DK weight shorties out of this yarn. So I'm kind of thinking, so 15 minus 8 leaves me with 7, which gives me a lot of yarn to play around with for those shorties. At first I was thinking maybe I would use this strand and hold it with this teal color, this dark teal, and hold it with, but now I kind of want to see if I can like wind off half of it and have, so I have 7, which means that I have like 1 full repeat per sock. If I, okay, I'm going too fast. I want to hold the strands together so the colors match up, so I have this exactly color wise but in a DK weight. And if I have 7, that means I have 3 full repeats to work with and play with and see how that's going to go, because I don't necessarily need my shorties to match up exactly. We'll see how I feel when I get there. But that's this sock, and it's going along pretty well. It's good that it's vanilla. It means life stuff. And then I'll get back to my projects. I have to, so I got my teaching certificate. I'm pretty sure I told you guys about that. If not, I officially got my teaching certificate last week Wednesday, like it's certified. Well, it's my interim teaching certificate. I don't have a full teaching certificate yet. I'm still working towards that. But then my work, the company was like, hey, you have to get an additional endorsement. And they were like, you should take this test in 2 months, this whole huge other test, this whole real test in 2 months. And they're paying for the tutoring and they're paying for the test, but that means I need to study my butt off for the next 2 months. So this is really good for while I'm studying, while I'm like reading and listening to the videos and stuff. The vanilla is where it's at, which is why I've finished the sock. I actually finished this today, really. I did the heel last night using that DK weight, sport weight yarn held double, and then picked up the gusset because my daughter and I went to the movies. We saw Mean Girls. I liked it. I wonder how it tracks if you haven't seen the original though. But I liked it, and anyway, I knit the whole foot while I was there, and then I came home and knit the toe. So I just need to Kitchener up the toe. But I really wanted to record, otherwise, like, I'm losing light already, and I'm just gonna continue to lose light. So I also took to the movies because I didn't have the gusset picked up for my Hippie Penguin sock. So I pulled out this blanket, which is one of my goals. It's going to be a pride flag blanket. And I did 2 ridges while we were at the movies. Hi, how are you? Just a baby kitten. Coming in here screaming at me, rude. So yeah, I have, there's this, I got pulled. This loop got pulled. I'll have to work that back in. So I did 2 ridges, but I'm going to pull this out because in January I was working on a blanket and a rug, and those are like 2 really big projects. So I feel like if I can continue on with that like mental space sort of thing, this is equally vanilla as those 2 projects were. So I can be working on this blanket, the corner to corner blanket, and the pride blanket, because right now it's just garter stitch. I'm just making a triangle. I don't have to think about it. I just have to, when I get to the stitch markers, I'm either making a yarn over or I am on the way back closing the yarn over. And this yarn is this yarn is Fiber Nymph Dyeworks. It was an anniversary colorway. And then this is Knit Picks Mighty Stitch. So what is this? It's an acrylic superwash wool blend. And then, so I don't know what it was about I mean, I do. I know if you write down your goals, you're more likely to be successful at your goals, right? Like, this is why people write checklists. This is why people make New Year's resolutions, things like that. I finished 2 of my bingo squares in January. What? That's ridiculous. And I haven't tabulated how many minis I've used this week, but I'm really, really close to 200. But anyway, another project. Before I go there, I did work on the black and green leggings. I've put on probably a couple inches. I'll show you that in February. I also, one day, it was sunny. It was a weekend. And there was like actual sun, not like this. This is not actual sun. There's like actual sun in my room and it was really bright. So I did like, I don't know, 4 or 6 rounds on the Valentine, what are they? The Heart Explosion socks by Alendria Knits. So proud of myself for that. But anyway, yeah, I've just been like I showed you in my, if you watched my bingo goals video, I have my projects in a basket. Like, this is my bed. This is the shelf. You're on the shelf that's like next to the foot of my bed, and there's a basket right up there, that has all of my goal projects for the year. Like, if they're started, they're in the project bags, they're in there. If they're not started, but I have the materials for them, they're in a bag up there. So I just, it's really easy to pull things out and work on them. Something that I've been making really, really good progress on. I know I'm going fast. I only have so much space on my camera right now because I have been not good about keeping it cleaned out of extraneous stuff. I have picked up and worked on my reading blanket. Y'all, look at how much I did. So let's see, this one. I was at the end of this 3rd row right here. So I added this square. And then I added 2 whole other rows. Isn't that ridiculous? In a month, I added on all of those squares. I'm so pleased and impressed with myself. I'm still way behind as far as books go. I think I had 56 books to add to the blanket at the beginning of the month, and now I am down to, I wrote it down, I'm down to 38 squares that still need to be added. But I've actually done more than that makes it sound, because that would be what? That makes it sound like I did 18 squares, but I actually did more than that because I read 6 books this month. Well, I didn't read them. I audiobooked them, but same thing. They still count. So really, really quick, I'm going to tell you about what I read or listened to this month. I listened to A Memory of Light, which is the last book in the Wheel of Time series, and A New Spring, which was the prequel to the whole thing. And the last book in the series, it was good. It like wrapped up the whole series. It was fine. Like, I think that Wheel of Time is interesting, but I would never sit down and like read the books. They were good for an audiobook experience. But New Spring, the prequel, I loved it so much. I'm glad I listened to it at the end and didn't listen to it as a prequel, or like read it before I read the series. I'm glad I read the prequel after, because it was the story of 2 of the characters who I really, really like, and like how they met, and that happened 20-ish years before the events of the story took place. And if I had read it as a prequel, I wouldn't have like had the attachment to the characters. So it was just so fun, like seeing them meet. I really, really liked the prequel a lot. I think, yeah, the other books are all three rounds for the square. I think that one I'm gonna make 4 rounds just because I really liked it. Then I also listened to The Hobbit, which last year I listened to the Lord of the Rings trilogy during the summer, maybe a little into the school year. And I was like, I should finish off like the set of books in my head, because I made squares for this blanket. Sometimes I want something that's easy to work on, and for this blanket, anything that's in a series has the same colors. So all of the Wheel of Time books, this doesn't have, oh, it does. So see here and here, these are both Wheel of Time books. So they're the same. The square is the same. This one right here is Bridgerton. I was going to say Downton Abbey. That's not the same. So they're, that way, like, you can see that I made the same or read the books in the same series without, like, I guess it's just easy to tell when things are books in series. So sometimes I make all of the squares for the books in the series, which means out of these 38 squares that I still need to make, I have the colorful parts made for, I don't know, like at least 10. I just have to get to where I read them in the year. But I had a square made for The Hobbit, even though I didn't read it. And I was like, oh, I should read that. And then I was like, oh, the Silmarillion. I listened to it via YouTube. So it was free to listen to. And the same person who did The Hobbit, and I really liked it, they also had the Silmarillion. I did not like that version of the Silmarillion, so I ended up listening to it on a different YouTube channel. But then someone also had Moby Dick, like one of those two channels also had Moby Dick. So I was like, oh, I've never read that. I guess I'll listen to that. So I did. And then like Moby Dick in my brain was like, oh, the Jungle Book. We've never read that. Let's see if we can audiobook that. So I think this year is going to be the year of me audiobooking classics because you can find them for free on YouTube. So that's how I have read 6 books this month. I'm also still reading Priory of the Orange Tree. I'm more than halfway done, which is awesome because my goal was just to read a chapter a day, and I'm ahead of that schedule, so that's good. And I have been reading on my phone A Court of Mist and Fury, which I'm really, really liking. I like this one better than I like A Court of Thorns and Roses. Like, A Court of Thorns and Roses was okay. It did have that Beauty and the Beast thing, but A Court of Mist and Fury, yes, this is where I like my fairies to be. Like, this is the dark fairy BS that I like. Like, this is it. So I'm really, really liking it. I won't finish either of those books by the end of the month, but I do anticipate finishing A Court of Mist and Fury in February sometime, and maybe Priory of the Orange Tree at the end of February. We shall see. But anyway, I have to wrap this up because I'm rapidly running out of space. I hope that January has been okay to you. It's been a little stressful for me, but I'm okay. We're okay. Everything's okay. It's just, it's good stress. It's like light at the end of the tunnel type stress, but it's still stress. So like the school thing, the certificates, or the teaching certification, that's the word. And like figuring out vacation things for this year. Y'all, we're gonna do vacation things this year. That's so crazy. I am not a person who has gone on vacations, really. So, like, the idea of going on a vacation is magical. And that's going to happen this year. I'm so excited. But that's down the line. Anyway, I hope that even if you're stressed, even if you're like, you still find some time for joyful things and being able to craft and being able to relax and stuff and read or whatever your thing is. I will see you again in February. Bye for now.